Hello, welcome back to Also Driven. It is a solo effort from me today because I am in Milan and I'm about to go and visit the Alfa Romeo Museum. Let's go and see what that's like. Interesting to note that until 1972 they had Milano on the badge for Alfa Romeos. We are first greeted by a little timeline, starting off with this 1910, which is the first Alfa Romeo made. It's quite spectacular, isn't it? I love the red leather and the acres of legroom in the back. This must have been for somebody who is extremely well off, I think. My favourite bit though is this little ventilation to the feet here, which from the inside you can see you can close the flap or open it if you want to. Very cool. Also note the pedals with Alfa on it. Also at this time it was only known as Alfa with the dots in between the letters, although not on the logo. The Romeo was added later. We then have a selection of sort of pre-war cars which are fairly standard for most marques. And then 1935 we start to get a little bit more normal for my understanding of cars. But 1947, look at that for a car made in 1947. What a super elegant long two-door coupe. That must have looked an absolute luxury icon back in the day. Although I have to say, that angle of that rear seat is a touch gynecological, I would say. Cannot be the most comfortable place to sit. But the look at that dashboard, it's beautifully made. It's sort of got a lot of hints of 50s Americana to it, I have to say. Beautifully painted, lovely wood-rimmed steering wheel. This beast has a 2.5 litre 6-cylinder engine giving 90 horsepower, capable of a top speed of 155 kilometers per hour. This 1947 car is also where we first start to see that Alfa grille, that iconic kind of teardrop shape that they all have, and that continues on to the later models from the 50s and the 60s and beyond. This Super Sprint from 1954 has massive echoes to me of the Volvo P1800, or probably the other way around to be fair, because the P1800 was much newer than this. But even from the sort of mid-century period you can see that they seem to specialise in two-door coupes, but also powerful family saloons, like this one here, which is a 1900 four-door saloon from 1950. And compare this to the sorts of cars that we had in the UK in 1950. It's really a step up, isn't it? Super sleek body for a 1950 car as well. And I really love these hubcap inserts. I love the clap hands wiper on this 1962 Giulia. To me, this is the first of the perhaps less attractive Alfas, and that there definitely is a theme of unattractive Alfas, I think. Lots of people think they're the most beautiful cars in the world, but yeah, they don't half make some munters, I have to say. This definitely has a hint of Fiat 124 about it, doesn't it? Now this is quite a thing. It's the Alfa Romeo, which was introduced in 1970, and they made about 3,000 of them. Just look at those grills over the front lights there. That is quite spectacular. I had a suspicion this was Bertone, and I was right. The design of this thing is just extraordinary. I mean, look at those grills over there. With that fabulous rear and an almost entirely horizontal hatch. There's hints of Mustang to it, isn't there? And here we have an example of the underdog Alfa. This is the Alfa Sud. This is a very early example of the Alfa Sud. Very different design language to other Alfas of the time, isn't it? But you can really see on this early example that really sharp saloon boot. It's very tiny. It's basically an Austin Allegro, isn't it, really? Actually, I'm becoming more convinced that it's an Austin Allegro. Look at those wheel trims, that rear light, the swage line, and that Allegro-style boot. Conforming to its more budget Alfa credentials, the inside is very black vinyl, isn't it? I'm sorry about the reflections, it's kind of hard not to get them in this place. Moving on with a little more luxury is the Alfetta, which is a much more grown-up saloon, isn't it? Here we have another of my candidates for ugly Alfas, the 1985 Alfa 75. I can't say I'm a fan, it's so angular, isn't it? Very peculiar door handles and kind of strangely high boot line and a bizarre sort of plastic cladding swage line going the whole way across the body. I mean, it certainly makes a statement, but I think that a Mercedes 190 would be a much prettier beast, as would a BMW E30. Here we've got the 80s and 90s in stark contrast. We've got the super angular 164 and the beautifully curvy 156. A decade separates these two. They do both share the same design language in some respects, but the 164 just does it all in a much more angular way than the 156. You can see the sort of placement of the rear lights there just underneath the swage line is the same here on the 164, and we've got the kind of the shape of the rear door over there. Again, same on the 156. Trouble is with the 164, I can't just help thinking of a Peugeot 605. The most important part of the museum, of course. Let's go get a coffee. Well, this is a very nice cafe. A lovely looking cappuccino and a pistachio croissant, which I couldn't resist, even though I've already had breakfast at the hotel. Oh well, I'm in Italy. It seems a little incongruous to me that a display that celebrates 12 months of colours of cars has 3 black Alfa Romeos on display. Well, there you go. Maybe Henry Ford is alive and well in Alfa Romeo. There's a great section here celebrating the iconic motoring design houses of Italy. So we've got a Bertone prototype here for the Sprint Speciale. And here we have the Bertone Carabo, which definitely has Stratos vibes, doesn't it? The doors open up like an insect's wings. And we have this amazing rear with those grills, showing this is a proper mid-engined car. If you just get the right angle, you would be able to look through the rear window. This Carabo is a Gandini masterpiece, isn't it? Absolutely glorious. It seems so much ahead of its time in 1968 as well. It seems so 70s. With that super low wedgy design. Next we move to Ital design, and no, this is not a Morris Ital. I'm really disappointed, but it is in fact an iguana. Penned of course by Giugiaro, who more famously designed the original Fiat Panda. And of course we could forget Pininfarina, and for 1969 they've gone for a very different design language from the Bertone wedge. They've gone for a sort of much more curvaceous body here. Looks a little bit spaceship-like, like something out of the Jetsons, doesn't it? Over here we have a prototype for the Giulietta Spider. You can tell this is Pininfarina, can't you, given it's all curvy, just like that concept car we saw a minute ago. Although by 1966 they did get their ruler out a little bit for the Spider. It really is a bit of an icon, isn't it? Every 60s and 70s movie in Italy had a hero in a spider. I didn't realise the Giulietta name came in so many different body styles, from a coupe to a four-door saloon to a sleek kind of sports car to almost something that looks like a Porsche. Even the Zagato styled TZ over there. And then we have a couple of Sprints over here. One in the iconic grey and of course the red. Then of course the Giugiaro style Giulia Sprint. The most interesting for me of these racing Alphas is this incredibly aerodynamically styled 1938 Speciale Le Mans. I mean, look at that profile. That's just phallic. My favourite thing about racing cars is the branding or the advertising. Campari, Goodyear, Fernet Tonic. Not aware of that, I have to say. Wonder if it still exists. And who could forget Martini, that iconic striping, but not an Lancia? How confusing. And of course, it was the 80s, so we do have a massive cigarette branding on this car. They have a great section here of ex-Carabinieri cars, and Alphas have been such a staple of Carabinieri cars for the entirety of, I suppose, the late 20th century and early 21st, aren't they? The first 75 Alfettas ever made were sent straight to the Carabinieri, which really cemented their use as the classic archetypal Carabinieri car. But you've got to love the base of the police spec with only one door mirror there. Probably one of the rarest Alfa parts is that mirror blank, isn't it? Actually pretty smart, that 90, I quite like it. It's a little bit awkward, isn't it? But that coming behind you with its blue lights, you would be quaking in your mafioso boots, wouldn't you? Did you know that Alfa's made 4x4s? I think it takes rather a lot of inspiration from the Land Rover and the Willys Jeep, doesn't it? Would not like to try and get spare parts for this, I have to say. There's a fabulous little video behind me celebrating owners' clubs, which is really, really unusual for a car manufacturer. They seem to always ignore the owners and owners' clubs and enthusiasts of their classic models. So it's really nice to see. There was a thing saying, "We are friends," and that's really nice. They are friends with people who actually have Alfa Romeo. Well, there we are. Hopefully you've enjoyed joining me on my little walk around the Alfa Romeo Museum here on the outskirts of Milan. If you're ever in the area, do pop by. It's not very expensive. It's €15 for an adult, worth a couple of hours of your time, I'm sure. And the cafe in particular is very good, I can assure you. Very nice coffee. Anyway, I'm off to go and explore the rest of Milan, and I will see you again in the next video doing something completely different. Bye.